So I came across this. Irish Justice Minister Helen McEntee intends to push ahead with plans to house migrants in Killock, despite pushback from locals. Now, what you hear the individual say in this short clip, I would argue you could not only apply to many Irish politicians across the political spectrum, because they're all bought and paid for. The illusion of choice is down to, ignorance and naivety in equal measure. And of course, the illusion that your vote counts, that your opinion counts. And remember, because it's the illusion, remember, you're told taxation with representation gives you representation. Remember, but the truth of it is, it's taxation without representation, and thus, you could argue successfully, theft, and you're paying for your own demise. And, keep in mind, as the individual's talking, think about how many, for example, Scottish politicians, English politicians, councils, same thing. Welsh, yeah. And that's, just in the UK alone. And we already know, and I think that's another thing that's starting to dawn on many people, is the realization that for all these years, they could have resolved housing of the homeless, quite literally, overnight. But no, they're focused on housing people from other places who do not share our values, do not plan to integrate, are hostile to the native population, and you've still got more by the day native homeless people who are being pushed further down the queue. And with that in mind, let's expand and play under fair use.
Set out, it is so important that we can provide accommodation to men, women and children who are fleeing extremely difficult circumstances. We have an obligation to provide international protection. It will be done in consultation with the communities, and I have to stress this point. This does not reflect the communities in Coolock, so many of whom have been extremely welcoming to so many who need our support and our help. But this is unacceptable behaviour. Communications cannot be used as an excuse for these type of violence. Absolutely not.
The only people, by the way, who are up for this locally, who are supposedly native, I would argue many of them are within that 10% of the population, the society within us, our society, name the Western nation, that most people are blissfully unaware that exists. When you start looking at the underlying occult networks, the numbers are far larger than the David Icks of this world would ever let you know. Because, as he keeps saying, and people like him, we're only dealing with a few people at the top. Really? Historically, that's never been the case. Seriously. And until people realize that, until people start looking at this occultism, things are only going to get worse. And I'll speak to you soon.